this is? Sounds like a code name.
Yeah, it's one of the projects out of the Rise.
Call this meeting in order. All stand. Face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call. Bretton Luther.
Present.
R.J. Donovan.
Here.
Jim Yelkins present. Approval of minutes.
Might suggest that we look those minutes over. There's some, I'm not sure what was said in those as far as the One County Highway is actually accurate.
Okay.
And then reserve those for approval at our next meeting.
Okay, fine. Got a second on that proposal?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of claims.
Didn't really get a chance to look at those till now. I do have a couple of questions on, well, I guess at least one question anyway. It's at your guys' pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
As recommendation by Britton.
He made.
Are you reserving?
I'm reserving my vote at this point. If you guys want to approve these claims, you two need to do that.
Okay.
I just not.
Well,
sure
even you can still question whatever you want. If you want to
If we're going to
reserve,
approve it, it's subject to verification of funds.
Okay.
That's fine with me then. Is that motion okay with you, RJ?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I'll second that then.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of payroll.
Make a motion to approve payroll.
Second the motion to approve payroll.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Brett, you did say aye, didn't you?
I did,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Monthly treasurer's report. I don't think we had that. I'll have to let that go. Moving on. Public comment. If someone's got a comment, 35 minutes, and please state your name and
Gracie York with the clerk's office. I have a little bit of an urgent situation. I was just informed yesterday that 9th Street and Clinton will be closed starting the 17th. So there will be no way for the public to access the Lions Club to vote. So I was just wanting to get approval to combine it with City 2 at the municipal building.
Is there sufficient time to give notice to people?
Yeah, so if there was, say, a fire, I just have to give enough efficient notice as I have that's possible to the voters.
Does the paper go out by then?
It'll go out next week if I get it in by this week.
Okay.
probably have to figure out some way to really notify people more than that.
Yep, we're gonna get a sign made for outside of Hillcrest, and the road won't even be accessible. They're deterring traffic. There will be no sidewalk, those types of things.
Any way you can get some assistance from the city of Clinton as far as getting that notification out on all their communications, or any way you could do that too?
Yeah, they said they would help in any way that they could, so I'm gonna work with them on trying to get more notice to the voters on it, but we're gonna do whatever we can.
So you're talking about combining 1, 2 in City Hall?
Yep.
There's not a detour around this that can be made, a reasonable detour anyway?
No. The whole street is going to be blocked off, is NDOT's plan that was just released and I was informed of.
Did you talk to the mayor about this yet?
Yeah, he was the one that called and told
Okay.
me about NDOT's plan.
And did he make that recommendation, or did?
He was okay with hosting it at City Hall.
Okay.
So
When's the road supposed to be closed down?
It starts next Monday.
Next Monday?
Yeah. We originally didn't think that they would be that far into the project, but NDOT had other plans, so.
As long as the mayor is working with him, he
Yep.
knows, and he's it's part of their issue to make that communication known, because when you change a voting place and people come there that day, it's not a good day.
Yep, there will be a sign outside of Hillcrest, and the Lions Club you won't even be able to get to it, so.
Have any of the candidates been advised of this yet, or?
I'm not sure. I was told last Thursday that the road closure was going to start on the 17th, but I didn't know how far I didn't know that they would be closing off the entire road.
There's been no candidate voice an objection or anything to that effect yet?
No,
Anyone?
they really have no bearing on it. It's up to your discretion of approval.
Well, it doesn't mean that they won't object. But you haven't heard any, so it doesn't
No.
matter. That was the question.
Yep.
Whatever has to be done, it has to be done, but the
Yep.
main thing is how do you communicate with the voters and not have when they show up and
Right.
can't find their voting places, that's not good, so.
Yep, we'll have a lot of signs out. There was just discussion yesterday of putting the sign outside of Hillcrest, so people are aware of that, and then I can run as many legal notices until polling.
About 850 voters, I think, in one,
Yeah.
840 or something.
Gracie, is the clerk's office or the election board considered reaching out to maybe News 10, News 2, maybe they'll
We
do
can
like
do that as well.
maybe do like a story or something,
Yeah.
or at least a notice on their website. Maybe that's a lot of viewership there that could potentially reach those voters.
Absolutely.
In the county website.
On the website as well.
Yep.
That's our best alternative. I guess we'll need to move
That's our
forward with
really
that.
our only alternative at this point, so.
If it's the only that makes it the best, I guess.
Okay.
Motion then to approve the combination of sites to which one?
The municipal
The
building.
municipal building then.
I'll
Oh.
second the motion.
So
Discussion.
to make it clear, it's Clinton City 1.
And Clinton City 2 will be at the municipal building.
The Clinton City 2 is already, that's where they voted anyway.
Yep.
So we're combining 1 into 2.
As further discussion, there is sufficient room there for parking and
Oh, yeah.
for
Oh, yeah.
the equipment and
Yep, they have a large enough room, and the parking lot is large and it's flat and it's ADA accessible, which is what we were looking for.
sure.
Because in Clinton City, we already have 3 and 4 combined at Sacred Heart anyway, so I don't see where to do it.
Communications are good there too, just
Yeah.
for between your office and there.
Yeah.
Have you had a meeting with the election board on this? Yeah.
We're meeting this afternoon
Okay.
we had a emergency meeting yesterday, and
Okay.
then we'll have some final housekeeping this afternoon.
And they're in agreement with this.
Yes.
So we got a motion, we got a second. Discussion, we already had, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Anybody else, public comment? You have another chance later.
Yes, Becky Holbert, we'd just like to give a trails update. So we do have a big event coming on this weekend at the Rise, our 5K. Victory half marathon, and 5K. We're close to 170 registrants, so we're really excited about that. I'm going to turn it over to Les Zimmerman. Do I need to? Okay, there you go. All right.
Is this a good time?
One of the things that come up with our insurance, I know Britton has worked hard on what he's proposed for insurance requirements, and I think that very good. The situations they have with Mr. Azar doing his, what would we say, surveying work, is that mainly what he's doing?
Surveying, preliminary design, trail design, and permitting.
But he's not doing nothing on design of the bridge.
No, no.
What I'm recommending, and I know I appreciate what Brett has done in this situation. The insurance requirement is either $5 million, is that what it is? And standard is probably $1 million and $1 million or
$3
$3
million.
And I'm asking for a variance on that in this situation. I think every one of them, I agree with Britton and his evaluation, this needs to be evaluated. What I'm looking at is the difference of change in this situation, because of the risk is not quite as, in my opinion, and talking with the insurance company, that the risk needs to be looked at, and I'm trying to figure out where a $5 million coverage versus a standard 1 or 2 comes in.
As we talked about before, that $3 million spot is something that dates back to the 90s. It hasn't changed, though costs have increased significantly between the 1990s, the early 90s to now. The second part is this is an aggregate, so it doesn't mean that we have a $3 million mistake ourselves. It means that if he's made this mistake in multiple places, we don't get $3 million. If it's a $3 million mistake, it's divided up between those errors and omissions that occurred before that. So anyway, we've discussed this before, and anyway, the other thing I guess is that if a person can't get that type of insurance, or doesn't not able to do that amount, it means that they're playing in the lower leagues, and I don't know that we want that as far as a county either. Most people that accept those are either very small companies or municipalities or small companies that don't really look at the potential liabilities that are involved with it. We're a fairly large business, if you will. We're a multi-million-dollar business. We're not a small player in, especially in Vermilion County, but in Indiana we are a significant business, if you will, and I think that's the way we should look at our businesses, or as our government goes forward. Comment.
I know it's pretty standard for $1 million. You know, my insurance is $1 million, $1 million umbrella, and that's usually something that most companies.
What is his umbrella? It's not $3 million, or is it $1 million?
He has a standing policy, to my understanding, of $3 million.
Yeah, that's.
And we've
more
had
typical.
Mr. Azar has engaged in extensive conversations with George Smith. We've looked at different alternatives. From what I gather, what I've heard about this is the $5 million requirement is not a common requirement. It is typically $3 million. What we're trying to do, we're trying to bring, I mean, we've got $1.1 million of state money that's committed to this project. We've matched it here locally. We're talking about a total of a $1.4 million project. To my way of thinking, we're already 2 weeks or 2 months behind. We'd hoped to have all the brush pulled, stacked, and burned by now, before the crops were supposed to go in. To your point about a small player, or whatever, however you put that, this gentleman is a qualified civil and environmental engineer. He's certified. Our experience with our previous large engineering company was less than ideal. We were very disturbed that they made recommendations to us that we had to go in and fix ourselves as farmers with knowledge of how to build something. We had to go in and correct them on several things because they never set boots on the ground.
Was there going to?
And so, based on a recommendation from Commissioner Yoakum with his experience with this particular person, a very good recommendation from our county surveyor, Mr. Mack, we decided to reach out to Mr. Azar to see if he wanted to come to work for us, for you actually, and he has consented to do that, but he is not willing to go and spend that extra money. If he did, he'd have to tack it onto the job. The biggest part of that is he would have to change his insurance provider, which would mean breaking a relationship with his long-term provider, because his provider will not even write the insurance to those limits. And so we are asking him to break a long-standing relationship with his provider just to come to work for us. And
What?
yes, we could tack that amount of money, whatever it is, $5,000, $10,000, onto the cost of the job, but now you're getting into our money.
One of the things I do want to say, I do agree with what Britton's doing to protect the county in that instance, because the situation is, if anything does happen in any time, it does come back to us, and I appreciate his concern in doing that. My question is there going to be any bridge design done on that?
No. I mean, there will be bridge design,
Well,
but it'll be done by others.
But I'm just saying, I want you to know ahead of time that when it comes to bridge design or things that have that type of exposure, there's $5 million can be involved in a bridge situation quick.
I don't have a problem with
So
that.
I'm just saying ahead of time that when that comes up, I'm not going against what he's doing on bridge design and things that actually can have that $5 million coverage.
I understand, and that's why I provided you with the scope of work here, so that you can see, we're talking about surveying, we're talking about a basic layout of a flat trail in a flat place, so you're talking about a little geotextile reinforcement, things like that, and then environmental permitting. I mean, those are obviously very low-risk endeavors.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, I respect what you're saying, but also want you to know ahead of time that you guys need to be completely have the information that Britton supplied and supply it to the other people that would be bidding on a project that would have that type of exposure and realize they have to have that, because
I understand that.
the limit is actually real in some of these situations.
And we're hearing you loud and clear on that.
So,
Les, I read your thing here this morning, and I think this project's, like you said, behind schedule anyway. Mr. Azar, I know, comes highly recommended. I actually believe he does all Fountain County's work as well, and you know, they're a large county, pretty much the same size as us. So I mean, if our counterparts can trust him to do work for them, I think we should do the same with this $1 million variance or whatever you guys are asking for. So I am in agreement with your guys' recommendation to lower this, but I would ask the commissioners as well, for future projects, maybe it's time we look at the entire paperwork that Britton has put together and re-look at that and see if there's anything else we may want to look at for future contracts. But I don't have any problem with this, and I would move to make a motion that we lower it to less. Is it $1 million?
$3 million.
$3 million?
Is the limit. Yes.
Okay, $3 million.
The limit that he- Yes.
For the project for the VTA with Roger Azar.
I would second that, but I want more discussion on it. And like I said, Britton's done a wonderful job on this stuff, and I appreciate what he's done, and we'll continue to evaluate that. And I have no problem with it in this situation because of the exposure, in my opinion. But like I said, if any other cases come up, what we have in place needs to be advised to whoever's bidding on stuff, and we want to hold that majority of the time. So in case of a spatial exception like this, where I believe the risk is minimal compared to the coverage.
Les, are you not going to ask the commissioners to sign that contract?
Yes, he will be working for you.
Well, you don't really need the motion, you just need to give the contract, and we just need to approve the contract. That should be part of the contract, I would assume. No?
I think that is the contract, what I've handed you. I'm not sure, because there's some...
But he didn't sign our MSA though, so you don't have a contract to work off of. Unless you're having him sign the MSA and then it's going to be a deviation from the MSA.
So I need to know how to proceed with Mr. Azar, because I would like to give him a phone call.
I would suggest...
Basically what I see, he's out there twisting in the wind. We've held him up now for almost 2 months.
As we're moving on. So,
And so I need to know, what do we need to do to make this happen?
John, what do we need to do in that situation?
I would think just have him provide a contract for the commissioners to sign.
But as far as the MSA is concerned, does he agree to the MSA with a waiver?
Well, if they sign off on the contract and it has that term in it, then yes.
Okay. So we need to have him put in his contract that he will be providing insurance coverage to a $3 million limit.
If that's what we're agreeing on, then yes.
Okay.
That's what you guys want, right?
Right.
There's a couple of alternatives, I think. He can provide his own contract, and the commissioners can consider that, which would establish his limits of liability for his insurances. Or he can sign the MSA, and then a waiver is given, or a variance is given, not a waiver, but a variance is given to the insurance requirements. But
And it seems to me, and again, I can't speak for Mr. Azar, but I think he has already signed the MSA.
then he's
But
agreed to
if
the
he
$5
did
million.
that, then he agreed to the $5 million, so I will follow through and
Well,
see. about that.
regardless, if it, I don't know that we've approved the MSA, unless Tim signed.
Broad user.
Excuse me.
The recommendation would be his contract would be with with exception to that, stayed somewhere, but still, he would still have the requirements of the $3 million coverage.
The easy thing is to have him sign the MSA with the, and then provide the variance to the insurance. Or you can provide his, if he wants another contract, then that'll delay you probably further because we'll need to review that contract. The MSA is acceptable to the commissioners today. It's just that you'll have to ask, if we are going to provide a variance to the insurance, it's just another paper that there's a variance to the MSA for the insurance.
Could I ask, a question maybe for you, John, could I ask him to contact you to see how to
Sure.
frame
Yeah.
that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
It's approved, but we just need to work out the details. So we got to still have a vote here. We haven't had a vote yet, but
Okay, all right.
I'll bring it for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
But like I said, anything else comes up,
We're on it.
and you are well aware of what we have in place, and that needs to be sent to the whoever applies for anything else. Because I think it's very good what Britain. I mean, we got to understand. If we have a situation that has that exposure, if they design a bridge or something, or if they're working down by the, a situation, and that could exceed it. I mean, normally it won't. But if you've got the exposure, design a bridge, and it goes in later or something that creates millions and millions of dollars, the exposure is there. And in this situation, I don't think that exposure is.
We do
is there.
need to, not to belabor the point, but even a $100 survey, if you put something on the wrong property, it can cost you quite a bit of money.
Right.
It's not just the cost of the survey.
Right.
And I don't know what form of ownership this will take. When we set off this parcel, it's going to be two parcels, two different owners that will come into your ownership. I don't know if that would be a situation where we'd acquire title insurance for that, or what form that possession might take. If there were title insurance, any of those kind of issues should be covered. That's just me.
You could do that.
So there would be another layer of protection in the case of the surveying. If it were surveyed, staked off, laid out, and we acquired title insurance for you all to own it.
Very good.
So, are we still in public comment? Thank you very much for your
Yes.
consideration of this and for your decision. Are we still in public comment?
Yes.
Two things. As a citizen, I think it would be a wise thing to consider putting hand railings on the stairs coming up here,
Okay.
maybe down through the center of the stairs. The railings that are there are just kind of like, there's nothing you can grab. So when I'm walking downstairs, I'm a stubborn old man. I'm not going to use the elevator. But I do notice that you don't have a place to grab. So you may want to consider putting hand railings down the center of the stairs, coming up all of your stairs here. Second item, old 63 going past the beer cooler, starting at the bottom of the hill, is a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Yeah, we know it.
I mean, I'm doing 50 by the time I hit the bottom of the hill. And I think if you took it down to maybe as you approach the beer cooler, going out to the stop sign, you might want to make that 40. I'm just throwing that out for you.
Is this an admission that you've exceeded the speed limit, you need to pay a fine?
I said it in public.
That is a tavern there too, so take
I
that into
understand.
consideration.
40 would be good. Thank you.
I assume that must have been something that was in ordinance at some point. in
Yeah,
time.
it was years ago. It was for a reason too, so. Anybody else, public comment before we move on? You can do public comment at the end of this also. We're gonna scratch this ordinance to establish. The council's taking care of that right now, so. Back up to WTH electronic map data application agreement. This is the same agreement we had in the past, right? Okay. Anybody got any questions on that?
It's the first I've seen it.
You want to let it go to the next meeting and so you can look at it, or is it up to you?
When does it expire?
I think it's the same exact one as last year when I have no issues approving it today.
I don't either, if there's been no changes.
Yeah.
When you said there had been no
Is he
changes.
here today?
I think it's
Is
no.
WTH here?
I don't think they ever come for it. I'll make a motion to approve the WTH data application agreement as provided. Same agreement's been provided for years.
I'll second the motion to carry this forward anyway for discussion.
Good.
Have you confirmed this is the same agreement as last year's? No change, except for dates, no changes? Okay.
He called me yesterday.
Is there a reason why you didn't present it earlier?
Probably because they've been too busy.
I think this is the first meeting after I received it. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks, but yeah.
So it's just be $750.
You just didn't receive it yesterday?
Yeah. He was just calling to follow up on it yesterday.
Let's see. And the monies are the same? Okay.
I'll call for a vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Courthouse Annex meeting with Soil and Water. Britt, you have talked to them also, correct?
Yeah, I had met with them yesterday evening at their board meeting, their monthly board meeting. Went over the footprint or the layout, floor plan of the annex with them, and this morning I also forwarded them the schedules as far as the door schedules, and actually everybody's, I just sent that out this morning. Interior schedules, door schedules, paint schedules have been sent out. I've not reviewed those. They just came in. They are favorable toward it. They were going to talk about it after I left, though, and but everything seemed to be favorable toward it. The one thing that did come to light is that they do what they pay the library at this point in time is $5,000, and that's what it's been since 2004, I believe, is what they said. They're reviewing that they will possibly get an NRCS employee, an additional employee there, but with that, there are certain restrictions that NRCS has about paying for office space, if you will, and that may have to be looked at it differently. Right now, the NRCS employee, wherever he resides, even though he's assigned to the county and will use office space in that county, they can only pay to the, I guess, the home county, if you will. So if that's Brown County, then Brown County is the one that they would pay for the office space, not Vermilion County or whatever county they come from. That's not, I don't know if that's been decided. So then that person has not been picked yet either. That's
Right.
still standing. So right now it's they're considering what their budget is and whether, and then approached, they're supposed to get back with us as far as monies go, and then confirming that they will use the space.
We also have a deadline. We've got that the public defenders has set for, is it August or September?
Supposedly August. Looks like, talked with the architect, I guess it was end of last week, and they don't believe that they can meet an August 1st date at this point, and there's an indication that it'd be a September date if everything kept going according to plan. I've asked them for a complete schedule, taking it from last week to occupancy, and then also the engineer's estimate on that.
So are we leaning toward them overseeing the project and bidding it out?
We'll probably have them bid it out, since they're the ones that have as far as overseeing it, we can have another construction manager, if you will, do that. But at least as far as getting the plans out and answering questions and so forth, that'll be the architect.
We need to figure out what we can do ourselves too, to get it out. You know, I mean, there's some of that stuff we probably get done ourselves.
It'll be enough money that we will have to bid it. Pretty sure of that. So.
Do you think we'll have to go back to council for more of that? Well, we got 90,000.
I expect we will have to go back to council. That's why I've asked for the estimates now that we have the plans.
My question is, what can I do to help move this along with this deadline coming up? I mean, if you tell me what I need to do.
As soon as I get their schedule, I don't know that you can help get that any further along.
I didn't know if there's some of that stuff that's not under their scope that we can go ahead and get contracted out to get done.
I don't think that's favorable. Piecemealing this out to different individuals.
But the question is, they're taking care of every bit of it.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other problem is that if you say we want to do the roof, which could be a separate line item, I guess, but the problem is that we would have to bid that out, because you're supposed to look at these projects as a whole.
Right.
You can't just go $1,000, $1,000, so I don't have to bid anything.
The whole thing that I want to make sure that local people can be part of that, you know, because and that's money here locally, and as far as going out of county or out of, you know, we don't need to do that. We don't have to.
I was getting ready to mention the same thing. I don't have a problem with maybe this firm doing the bidding out, but I mean, you know, like the jail project, there was like 24 separate packets or 15 separate things, and we've got a lot of local contractors that have asked me about the annex and are eager. So before we set on them, I'd like to make sure that they're, one, not going to be struck from, you know, bidding these projects and working locally, and if they would be, maybe it is something we maybe bid out in house or do something locally. So.
Well, you'll have to. Statute dictates how we have to do those. What it can be, though, is that we can cause the structure to be different.
Yeah.
We will most likely still need a general contractor. We will not. We'll have to look at this once we get the estimates back and see what level we fall in here. But like you said, we can have. I mean, we can bid out painting each wall for that matter, but.
It's all simple processes. It's nothing major.
Well, it's not a matter of simple. It's a matter of what the dollars are. So, and it has to be. I believe it has to be looked at. And can you confirm that, John? That we have to look at the total package dollar. We can't just look at individual line items, or is there some
You're talking about to avoid bidding? Yeah, you have to look at the entire cost of the project.
But everything there comes below the threshold of.
Yeah, but you can't break it down to avoid the public bidding statutes. What Britton's saying, I think.
Right, okay. Anyway, so we got.
Now that doesn't preclude them from bidding on it, though. Yeah. Assuming they meet whatever the requirements are.
That's what I mean.
So you're going to see about if there are. You think the defender's office is going to be acceptable to that 1 month or change?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. I believe they will be, but I don't know that. I'm not.
Okay.
This is until I get the schedule from them. I don't want to just.
You think they'll
every day go to them and say, "Oh, I think it's this. I think it's this."
Right.
Wait till we get this.
Well, I want to have some here to help any way I can. Please let me know. And I think one of the situations that some people question, why are you doing the annex and on that and first? Well, the thing is it's easier if you already have someone wanting to go in that building. It makes financial sense instead of making changes in here, you know, which always will probably create problems. But what we did here was the right way to do it. We got the right clients in there. I believe we made a good choice. The engineers have done a wonderful job, and so we're moving along. But we're looking at a September, October, before it gets too cold out.
One thing that both of you need to consider also, or we need to consider anyway, is construction management, how we want to do that. That is not necessarily I would not necessarily pick the architect for that, but
I just don't
whether
want to
we want
get
to do
into
that.
a commercial issue where it creates a lot of 25 to 30% more cost because we're doing it a certain way, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You need to start considering that because it's going to come up here very shortly.
Okay, but we've done very well on it. Design's good. We've got 2 possible good clients, and it creates a revenue.
And
so.
you've got the schedules to look at, though. They just went out this morning, but
Okay.
when you get a chance, you need to look at those schedules. We do, because of what we're trying to do as far as time frame, we need to approve those schedules.
Okay. Send that to us, and we'll get on but it just came out very well. County Highway Organization, I met with, this is probably old news, I don't think if we discussed this the last meeting we didn't, did we? The meeting I had with Jim Neese.
I think you did. I think you touched on it, yeah.
You mentioned it.
So, but we did have the meeting. There will be another meeting coming up, and I'll let you guys know when it is, and if you guys want to go to it with LTAP in Lafayette. They're bringing in another 2 of the counties that have this in process, and so we'll go meet with them and talk to them about how it worked out and provide real valuable feedback. So we'll keep involved in that. I talked to the council last night, let them know if there's a possibility coming up, and that we'd probably be asking for funding for that. County organization, I would like to have a meeting within the next 2 weeks with the highway department, and where we get together and just sit down and discuss what our plans are and what we're trying to do. I think it's important. I don't know if you guys can come up with a date to do that. I know we say it's going to cost money, but it pays. If we have a meeting with them, maybe District 2 Garage one morning for the first hour and start a shift, and I'll let them know what our plans are and let them have some feedback. I think it's good interaction.
We want to talk with Mike. He's been thinking about what you proposed, whenever it was last week, concerning overseeing the departments. I believe that he's overtaxing himself, but you need to hear from him anyway.
I still haven't got that list from you.
For
The last ones you had for the job positions.
I'll email them to you. I'll make a note of that.
If you could, whenever.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be good. I can give you my schedule. Who you want to try to set that up? Or RJ, are you available?
In the morning, yeah. If you guys want to do it in
If
the
we
early
moved
morning.
from 7 to 7:30,
Yeah, that's.
at
fine.
District 2 Garage, it'd be central. It wouldn't upset the whole day, but it'd be at the beginning of the shift.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
And I know last week we did have a meeting a little bit about organization with the commissioners, and we all seem to be in pretty much agreement that a superintendent will be prudent to look over the highway departments. There was some good discussion between all 3 of us. There is certain things that I still don't necessarily agree with if we move forward with a 1 county highway. And it's not that, well, it's that I do disagree with it. Only from the fact of the last 30 years, things have been done a certain way with the highway funding, and we all live in, or our current highway structure, we have 3 separate districts. And in these districts, the funding is set out, I think, around 40% for the Clinton district, and then around 30% for District 2 and District 3.
That's all based on road miles.
Yeah, on road miles, yeah. And in a proposed new plan, all the funding will be put in one, and the superintendent will determine what roads and what projects will be done.
And county engineer.
And county engineer, if we can get a county engineer and county superintendent, yes. Just want to keep the public up to date on that. And I have fought for, and I will continue to try to keep some of the money separate for road projects. I think that keeping them separate between the districts makes sure our Long County gets X amount of roads done each year. When I was elected in 2020, that's how it was done, and in the first few months of 2020, I don't know if I can see this, but District 3 implemented a road improvement plan. So in District 3, there are expectations for roads to be paved in the next 5 years. If this structure does change, I want the constituents to understand that this isn't a purview of me saying your roads aren't getting paved now. This is going to be a new structure. We don't know what this new structure is going to be like, even if it'll change, but I just want to share that with the public today.
I have to agree on a lot what RJ is saying. Since we started, especially since we started Community Crossing Grant, we've made major improvements in our county, and I'd say we probably have one of the best road systems probably in the state of Indiana. That's because of the grant program which we've worked on, which averaged probably $1 million a year. $750,000 come from the state, so it's been good. Our county highway department, we got excellent men. I have hardly ever, and I say that truthfully, hardly ever hear any complaint from any of the public. It's always, in fact, there's multiple positive things being said about our county highway employees and how they react during the storms and everything. So there's absolutely no problem with how it's been in the past and how it's worked. And I agree that the thing about this agreement, that if we go this route, even with a county engineer and a county highway superintendent, the final decision comes back to the commissioners, and the commissioners can overrule anything they say or do. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to get to a place where it's not a political thing at all, that we look at our districts and make that decision, but it's what's best for the county. Last time we had a bridge in District 3 that needed to be done, and we went and got the funding for it and changed some things around and made what was best for the county in that situation. And I agree with RJ that there always needs to be a balance there, and we as commissioners still oversee that, and we can still overrule any decision they make. But I would rather have decisions made on the county as far as road paving based on an engineering decision, and really when they come and say we want to pave X road, they could say we're paving it because of X, and you get the data behind that and you get data driven, then it makes sense to everybody. But on the other hand, we as commissioners would still oversee the entire process, and if we see it's getting out of hand, we can say, well, we need to do something about it. But also I want to say that RJ is 100% right in what's been in the past. It's worked. And but also I also see the reason to look at it in the big picture. But yet we still have that. I just want to let you know we still have that authority.
I understand. I just want to make sure, this constituents up here, when we've made these, 3 years ago when we made this plan, people are expecting, in 2024 Meridian Road, Gessie Road, these roads that are to be paved. I was operating under the purview of how it always has operated. And these plans that were been sent out and shared out, I just have to make sure they're aware that if things change, it's not on the basis of me saying, hey, your road's no longer worthy, the highway department may possibly change. And people react, when you make promises to them of their road being paved based on the continuance of community crossings, and there's still possibilities that it may be paved, but there's also possibilities that, for instance, we'll just say Rangeline Road or whatever road, there may be a 5-mile stretch that we just want to do in one section, so it's just still going to be a little shell shock for me if we go this way, and that's why I will try to continue to fight for some sharing of funding for roads, just because for the last 30 years people are used to seeing this in their districts, and the roads are, I will say it, better than Fountain County and Park County, and I'll just continue to say that, but anyway.
Yep. I agree. We like I said earlier, the oversight is.
We got to remember that we are county commissioners. We look after the county. We do not have districts, guys. We are county commissioners. A couple other things. I'm not sure that this has gone on for 30 years. The county or the community crossings only been around since 18 or 19. So I'm not sure if this plan dates back a lot further than that or not. But as far as those monies come, the other thing is that we've been spending the community crossing money for basically putting, for the most part until this last year, asphalt down. We have a number of bridges that are not in good shape. We may have really decent roads, and I think we do have decent roads, but our underbelly is not so good. It's rotten in some places, and we got some major issues in some of these towns where the whole stormwater system that goes down these roads is just ribs. In fact, they turn into fountains every once in a while. So I'm not sure that the HMA program, this paving program, is going to be able to continue if we look at it as a fiscal responsible body. As far as we've developed an asset management plan, and I guess I'm a little concerned that we're going to still look at this at a 40-30-30 type arrangement. One, it's not consistent with the state highway, how we receive our funds. The revenues that we receive from the state highway for this is basically ends up being like 52% to the south. If we're going to continue these districts, 52% to the south, 24 in the middle, and 24 in the north. So the revenue streams don't even match this road miles, if you will. I'm not in agreement that we should be doing it that way in the first place. But also we have this asset management plan that's going to mirror what we should be doing in the county, not what we should be doing middle, north, south. It'll be lining up what should be done by a priority, and that takes it out of the political realm, of which the 40-30-30 is basically a political decision. It's an equity, it's a social program, and I'm opposed to social type programs like that. This should be based on what the state's already dividing money up by 92 counties as it is. Now we're dividing it up again by 3 inside a small county, or 1 county out of 92. So I'm not in tune with the socialistic programs of doing these things. I'm in tune with doing what is best for the county and what are the priorities for the county, whether that's north, south, middle, or wherever, but it's for the county.
I'm just wondering if you read me wrong in what I said. I didn't say I was against making these decisions. I'm just saying, in case there is an oversight or an excess or something, we
That's
as
not
county
what you
commissioners.
said, is what RJ's position is different than my position, then. I just voicing my opinion.
No, we all want what's best for the county, and I think we all agree with that. We have to. If we don't, we shouldn't be elected. But we're also, I think that looking at the big picture, when we see something that, those two people can make decisions and we would accept it. But yet, on the other hand, I'm just saying, if we see an imbalance that's quite obvious and it's not right, then we have that right to
County commissioners can always override.
That's all I'm
those.
saying.
That's fine. I agree. But I think the first 3 projects are in the north. So, oh my gosh, we got now doing some in the south because they're all in the north now. Yeah. That's not the right way of doing things.
Well, the 40-30, when you reference back and go back 20-30 years, Brendan, I was in reference of how the county has distributed funds. They've always done 40-30-30 with projects, overlay, pug mix, whatever you want to call it. The community crossing grant has only been around for so many years, but prior to that, the county's always divided everything up.
And we're still doing that.
And that's what, I mean, that was my point on that. And I understand your position that it should be 1 county. And like I've stressed in that meeting last week, that the concern is that, when you go to this paving, chip and sealing, whatever it may be, I've witnessed it in other counties. The superintendent can come in and present something, and if 2 commissioners agree and say, no, we want these roads done for the next 3 years, then certain parts of the county won't see nothing for 3 years. Now, we hope, and I understand what you're saying, we hope it's merit-based, we hope that they have reasoning behind it, but if there isn't, if they're just paving a road because they like who lives on it, but that can happen anywhere, and I would like to just, again, whether or not you 2 agree, I would like to see the equity based where everybody gets so much done each year, and I would like to continue to see that, and we can agree to disagree. I think we can all respect each other's opinions.
I think we just said the same thing. That's what the asset management plan is there for, though, and why we've prioritized it, and we've not done that as commissioners, and it still has another couple rounds to go, but that plan is not based on the superintendents or the engineers. They'll put it together, but that plan will be approved by us, and I think you'll be on a merit basis. It won't be on that takes the politics out of it, is what it does, unless we override it. Yeah. And if we override that asset management plan, then that's the politics of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, everything has to have checks and balances. That's all I'm saying. We can look
There's
at
reasons to do things, and sometimes, and politics isn't bad. Sometimes you do them because of perception or whatever as well. That I'm more of a purist as far as looking at those things.
So next 2 weeks, meeting in District
Yeah.
2. Next 2 weeks.
District
I'm
one.
pretty open. Any day but Friday for me. But
Okay.
Monday
So
through Thursday, I'll be pretty open.
what is your schedule? Open in early mornings, Britt? For
Mid-afternoons. I'm awake by then.
we need to do it in the morning when it starts.
That's
shift.
fine. Just pick a date and I'll have to confirm it.
I'll look at my schedule and get back with you guys.
Just pick a
and-
date, yeah. and
Yeah.
I'll
I
make it.
prefer 2 o'clock in the afternoon though.
You're off nights. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you work nights. You're off
Probably
Thursday.
next Thursday would be a good date. Let's try that.
Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yes. Send out a reminder.
What's that? Thursday, the
20th.
20th.
Maybe we can get some donuts for them and something.
Sure.
On 420 at what time?
You have to be at 7.
7 a.m.
At District 2, right?
That'd be
Garage.
best for us. Okay, we'll move on with county organization. That's a work in progress.
Yep.
I probably will be going, if need to be, well, we haven't another meeting yet at LTAP, and I'll keep you guys informed about it. We're moving on to ARP monies allocations. I think we have one proposal here for an ATV, or UTV, they call them UTVs for,
Yeah,
Sheriff.
in previous, a little bit of our discussion before meetings, I think the sheriff department needs this regardless if it comes from the ARP monies. They had an instance a couple weeks ago, if you guys remember via email, I think there was I don't know if it was a missing person or something on a trail and they don't have any way of doing it. And I was going to ask Mark, but I think someone has an old Kubota UTV, I think, that's used sometimes. I think this is prudent. I can't believe how expensive UTVs are.
$30,000
I
for
want
it.
one. I want one personally, but for $32,000, I don't know that I'll pay $32,000 for one.
Well, that's a build-up when
Yeah,
for
for the
EMS. and-
Yeah, true. If there's no objections, what I would like to do is approve this recommendation and send it to the council, subject funding, and let the council pick if they want to approve it, where they want to take it from. Because the ARP monies, I'm kind of like Britt, and I'd kind of like to leave those alone until we really hone in what we want. But I think the council would see, if we all agree like we do, this would be a prudent purchase for the
Yeah.
sheriff's department, and they could really utilize it. And I think the most expensive one here that I have, if I added it up correctly, would be $37,413. But that would give them the option to go with the cheaper one.
yeah, I think we ought to just approve them purchasing one, and then they can make a decision which one.
Okay.
Because, I mean,
I have
I'm
no
not-
idea.
I have no idea what's the
Yeah.
best one, and maybe they've got preference.
Yeah, if there's no objections, I'll make a motion to approve the sheriff's department's recommendation for Mr. Holtcamp.
Pending funding.
What's that?
Pending funding.
Pending funding from the county council, so we'll send them on to the council for funding.
I think I can second that.
No further discussion, all in favor?
Oh, one question though, we didn't set whether it's $1 or $10,000.
I can amend it to the,
I just asked.
yeah, I
What's the
can,
motion?
Not to exceed the price.
not
of the
to
highest one.
exceed, I'll say not to exceed $38,000. That'll get them one of them with their lights and
Do
stuff.
we need to set a limit though?
Well, just with the two-
Subject to funding, let them make their argument, the sheriff
Yeah, I mean,
make
they
the
can-
argument. This isn't a licensed vehicle, it's an
Yeah,
asset.
yeah.
Sure.
We can set it at 38, and they're not going to go over that because they sent us both the things they wanted. So,
I can see where it's needed.
yeah, I'll amend it to not exceed 38,000.
Okay.
I was just wondering if we need to set any limit on it, but anyway, let council decide whether they can spend $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Question though is, if the sheriff there's other uses for that other than just the sheriff's office, i.e. fire, rescue. Are we gonna ask for this to be a multi-agency
I think,
vehicle
I think,
that is ran or managed by the sheriff's department, or is this going to be a sheriff's department vehicle and they'll say yes or no to whatever?
I would assume, John, would you say the sheriff's department's usually pretty prudent about sharing an asset?
Yeah, I've not known them to not do that.
I know, like the mushroom hunt, they had said that the reserves could use it. So I would assume they would share this interagency if they. I can't speak for the sheriff's department, but I would imagine they probably would. like
Yeah,
the
they're-
hill climb, if first responders needed to use it, I think they would probably, there may be a criteria of, you know, who can get on and drive it and stuff.
Emergency
but-
management needs to have access to that also.
Yeah.
so.
Well, that's where I was kind of going with this. Is it something we should actually place underneath the sheriff's office or underneath the emergency management and it's housed at the sheriff's department for their use?
That's up to you guys.
The sheriff's department.
I'm
would be-
throwing a little.
Yeah, I would
difference in
say
there.
that, I don't have an objection to that. I would think the sheriff's department would probably say they wouldn't have an objection to it either, because I think they just need the use of it, you know, for the,
I was thinking the upkeep, maintenance, and so forth. EMS
The sheriff's
tends-
department
is-
needs.
tends to be doing this preventive maintenance type
Yeah.
things. I'm not sure that the sheriff's department would do that.
yeah.
Maybe they would, maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think it's worth just talking to them, but I think ultimately they're not gonna, I mean, I think anything we ask of them, I think they'll work and utilize together, so.
I'd like to see somebody responsible for it. I don't want to.
Would have to be, I'm saying the sheriff's department needs to be the one responsible, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
make them be the sole person, and I think we can ask them to utilize and share within the
Declare it
organization.
as an interagency
Interagency,
vehicle.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, so you need a vote on it, right? We got a discussion, all in favor?
I'd like to amend it though to include the interagency, that it's managed by the sheriff's department then if that's what we want.
That's, I can
then.
amend it to that, that's fine.
Okay, and I'll second that amendment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one's opposed. GIS committee appointments.
Get a different sheriff in there, then they have a different idea.
Then they'll want a different one, then.
Probably want two.
One thing I would like to ask the sheriff's department, we purchased a drone years ago for like $15,000, and I'd like to know an update of the condition of that. I think something happened to it. So, I
They
need to
used
ask
it,
that question.
wasn't it used some time ago, since the last couple of years?
Well, I don't know if it's usable right now.
Oh, I thought it was used a couple of years ago, maybe
It
more,
was.
maybe
It
5
had
years.
thermal imaging. They could fly over and they could find someone in the field
Oh,
and all
really?
that. And if that thing is not,
Right,
if it's not,
where is it?
I mean,
Polk may not know, sheriff may not know where it's at.
well, the other thing is you have a situation here. I run drones, and you need someone who really knows what they're doing with it. But anyway, I'd like to find out about that. But we
You
need
still
to
have to
move
be
on.
licensed on those?
You do have to do if you do it for commercial income. You have to.
What about government?
Yeah. The Part 107 test you got to take to
Alright.
get certification on it.
Hmm.
It's like if you fly airplanes, you can pass that test, but if not, it takes a little bit of work to pass it. Okay, we're going to move on. GIS committee appointments.
I provided a statement a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, whatever it was, last 2 weeks, and then also 3 people anyway.
Okay.
Has that been included in the packet?
I don't think I have anything.
We can.
You know what the three, so they already been appointed to the committee or no?
No, we have not done any. We need to approve the description of what the committee is going to do, and we need to approve 3 or 5. If you haven't read this, we'll
Okay.
just table it till the next
Table
time.
next meeting.
Okay.
If you haven't gone through it.
Okay.
I remember looking at it on the email, but I just couldn't remember the names.
And
I
those,
don't-
and those are not necessarily the best, those are 3 names.
I remember reading over this. I didn't have any comments back to you. Tim, do you need to look at it?
I don't have no problem with it.
We can approve it today if you want.
Do we want 3 or 5? There's only 3, I think, on there. I don't even remember
Yeah,
who they are. for
Mike
that
Phelps,
matter.
Ron Mack, and Paige Kilgore. I'm okay with 3. And have we had any other ones show interest?
I've not had anybody.
I have. I reached out and I couldn't get anybody
I
else.
had 0.
And those are all
actually.
good names on there.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with approving these 3 and
I did not ask Paige whether she was interested or not. I just put the name down.
I love it.
Paige, you got rode up.
The other 2 said they would have an interest, but, you know,
Okay, we could say we
since
did
Paige didn't show up
pending her
today for the
approval,
meeting, so.
yeah.
but membership can be changed anytime
Yeah.
anyway. So we
Okay.
agreed on a 3-member board, and I think we need to move on.
Yeah. So want to approve this today?
If you guys wish, I'll make a
Yeah.
motion that we approve the GIS standing committee. It's a standing committee in GIS
Yep.
as described in the description.
I'll second. You already seconded?
No, I was waiting for
Oh,
you guys. I
second.
usually don't let you guys do that. We had the discussion. I think we need to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Okay, the IT committee appointments. I have some recommendations I'm going to say here, and I just want you guys to approve or disapprove what I've got wrote down, and that way there I can turn this over to John Spur to have the final. We've made a selection of 5 board members. Here's what I'm putting. It's going to be a 5-member board, appointed by the commissioners. A 2-year term. Is that what you guys think we ought to have on it, or do you think we ought to have longer? 2-year term's fine. What do you think, RJ?
I don't care. That's fine. If they're willing to serve 2 years.
I'm recommending quarterly meetings. You'd say that would be the minimum, quarterly meetings?
Yeah,
or-
quarterly, and then they can meet as needed, I would say.
Okay, and they'd make recommendations for the yearly IT budget. I'd like for them to make a recommendation on IT budgets.
Yep.
Do you have a description written down?
I'm bringing that stuff out and I'm asking for you guys' feedback, and I can add to this,
Okay.
whatever you want to add to it. And then that way, when we turn it over to John, he can bring up the rest of it. The normal stuff that's included in that board.
Okay.
So I'm open for recommendations, what you want to put in there. Available for questions concerning IT issues. I think that's trying to just give some type of scope of this appointment. So I'm trying to let you guys have input of what you guys think needs to be included on that. Or
That sounds good. I think the budget's the big thing. Asking them to research, the budgeting. I mean, doing some of this legwork, going out to their counties and saying, hey, do you have a paid person? Are you getting by with only paying $40,000 a year to run your whole IT? And if you are, is it maybe put in there about the structure? It's cloud-based, or is it all hardware? Because it's way out of my
stuff
purview.
that we don't know.
Way out of my purview.
Anything you want to add to that, Brett? We can always add it. I just want to get something started so we can go ahead and have meetings. You can add to this.
I hadn't put a lot of thought into it till now. So, anyway, I think they need to address email. I think they need to address security issues. I think they need to address the budget. I think
And we got time. You just send me what you want, and we'll send it forward to him, to John, and then John can have it up. I think by next meeting, John, if we get the recommendations to you.
Are you wanting this just are you wanting it as an ordinance or as a job description, or?
Only I know it's going to be an advisory board that has no real,
should
it's
be a
just some
standing
recommendations.
committee. That's what
So
we've
like
been doing this as.
Okay, it's like an ordinance creating the standing committee.
Do we need ordinances to establish standing committees?
I-
We have not done that.
I just don't know what form
Well, what's that one that Britain? I think just more or less kind of like what you had for the GIS, right?
All we've been doing is, if
Work
it's
on
an
it.
ad hoc committee, define ad hoc or standing. Ad hoc just means it happens without definition.
I think it's kind of like that.
Okay, I can do that.
But it's just an advisory board. Has no.
I don't know that we need an ordinance for it, but
I just
I
want
just
to know
wanna
what
get it
form you
done.
want me to put it in.
the proper form.
Okay,
I'll
so
come up with something.
so Brett, why don't you send your recommendation to me? You got anything to add to this, RJ?
Just what I said in the meeting, but I can send it to you again if you
And
want
I'll
to.
put this together and send it to
Okay.
Spur, and by next meeting we'll have a final on that. Sorry it's taken me longer than what it should. Cleanup days, RJ, you want to give an update on that?
Yeah, April 14th, 15th, Friday and Saturday. Hopefully you guys take some time this week and get your junk ready. Be there early. There's a possibility that, could shut it down early if people bring in way too much stuff. There is recycling. You can bring recycling. Make sure it's cleaned. TVs, mattresses, there are costs for those, but everything else is free. And we do ask that you bag your stuff. A lot of people bring in loose trash and stuff, and the highway department doesn't want to handle that. Our volunteers don't want to handle that. Just make sure you please bag it, put it in boxes, do whatever you can to help the guys out. Other than that, we look forward to seeing you Friday and Saturday.
Do we have something sent out to everybody about picking up trash and the danger of picking up trash or anything like that? We approached that with solid waste to go out.
We if they're cleaning like roadsides and
Yeah.
stuff? No. We discussed a little bit of it, telling them to make sure they wear some proper high vis and stuff if they're going to be out, park their vehicle on the side of the road, flashers. that type of thing. Because I think Elanco's doing they adopted a bunch of roads down by Elanco.
Okay.
So
We have started the adoption process.
Elanco sent out an email to all county employees, or not county employees, good lord, Elanco employees, and I think they're doing, I don't know what county roads are right there, but it's a big square right around the facility down there.
Are we gonna provide signs? Are they actually adopting them or just doing them?
I think they're cleaning it up just for cleanup day.
Okay.
Yeah, I might forward that email to Mike, because I don't know if they have any way to, I don't know how many employees are going to be out there working those 2 days either, I don't know.
Sure.
Okay. That will be a big success, as it always has been. Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall, June the 9th to the 11th. Is someone here to speak about that?
I think Becky was the one that was putting this together.
Okay. Anyway, the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall will be on June the 9th through 11th, time 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., so it sounds like it'll be open all day. Location, IP Family Park, that's International Paper Family Park there in Hillsdale. One of the things I do want to read, we had a Justice Regional Advisory Council meeting the other day with local people in enforcement and that, and I got a paper from Bruce Ackerman. I believe our probation officer back there was there, and the letter I got it was talking about fentanyl. I say that word many times wrong, but fentanyl, I believe, is the proper pronunciation. And this letter here has something to do with it. Vermilion County is seeing fentanyl mixed with other drugs. Larger metro areas are seeing Exaline, it's called animal tranquilizer, mixed with fentanyl and heroin. It's only a matter of time before Vermilion County sees it. Our police officers already have to deal with fentanyl-laced drugs and traffic stops, serving search warrants. And it says fentanyl is 50 times more powerful than heroin, 100 times more powerful than morphine. It's extremely dangerous, and the statistics shows fentanyl is the leading cause of death in the USA of ages 18 through 45. The people who are addicted to it then make their way throughout our court system and mental health and hospital, and once it takes root, it hits every aspect of our community. Just want to make the county aware of that, and I think it is also something that if you get it on you, it even can be absorbed in your skin. So it's something we might really be aware of, and it's coming to our county and come to other counties. So anyway, moving down on this agenda. But we do need to come back and visit the situation building inspector. I know we're taking time, but I need to know what decision you guys want to make on this. Is it going to be a contractor or what we're going to do? Because I'm
Question, are you all here for a reason or just to listen? Just here to listen. That's fine.
Didn't know if we was holding you up.
If you needed to
Okay,
get something in front of us, that's why I was asking.
We just need to figure out which direction
Yeah,
we're going. Make a recommendation, we'll move with it.
Yeah, last meeting, didn't we discuss about doing was it a contractor and they would pay the fees, would cover the cost?
Yep.
I'm
1099 employees, what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm in favor of moving forward with that. I wouldn't want to be in any position to be a building inspector, not knowing any. I mean, I know I wouldn't want to do it. So, if we want to move today on proceeding with that, then I'm in favor of searching that out, advertising it, however we have to do it.
So how are we going to? I don't know, but the other thing is, if you have fees versus a county, you can't expect somebody to do a $25 inspection and have to drive to the northern part of the county. So it'd have to be something that's based on time. A little bit of time factor in there, because it don't make sense. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say, give me something to work with, and let's move.
What is your recommendation?
Do you have an idea of saying? I mean,
The original recommendation was to keep it with the area planning, and they took care of it all like they originally did, but they threw that back on us, and that's not going to happen. So we're stuck with this decision making.
So say you have if you had a contractor in the community that's retired that would want to do it, what's it worth? I don't know what it's worth to them. You know, I don't even know what the building fees are. Are they $50?
I have them in here somewhere if I can find them.
I think those will have to be revisited, whatever they are.
Yeah, I mean, if you. Yeah.
Okay, right here. Here's the fees. New home inspections, $135, and there's 4 inspections. So each time they go out is $30.
Are you gonna pay mileage too, or are you just
Yeah.
gonna figure in the fee?
Room additions, $85 to inspection. Pole barns, $85 to inspection. Mobile home, $85 to inspection. Swimming pool, $25. Commercial max, $16.60. $100 permit fee up to 1,000 square feet, and then goes on. Changing zoning application. That wouldn't be us. The zoning application, it wouldn't be us. Especially.
This, I don't know if I was driving 20 miles for $135 on 4 different times. I don't think it'd pay for me.
Yeah. So how do we come up with something that makes it at least attractive for someone to do this?
The fee schedule's for us to be able to pay for them. That's what we pay them and what we compensate them for expenses is
Yeah,
separate item.
what did it bring in? Do we have an idea what it brought in last year?
I brought
building fees?
About $9,000 or $10,000, I think it did.
Would it be better just to list it as a part-time position at like $12,000? And I mean, there may be years you make on it, there may be years you lose on it, but
It'd be better if it was a 1099.
I mean, you could just a part-time building inspector listed at $12,000 a year, no benefits, or 15,000. I mean, I don't know what the.
We only got 9,000 in there, don't we? 99, 98 or something like that.
Well, I don't know what the council wants us to do because I'm not sure what. I'm with you. I don't know that advertising the fee. I mean, people. I mean, I think you're going to have to list a flat salary for it or a pay scale for it.
We've interviewed at least one individual, but I understood that there was 2 that were interested. I don't know who the second one was.
Well, the other one was mainly interested in the other position with the administrator.
On the APC side?
There was 2 put in for that position, I think. No, 1. They only had 1 person put in for that position, I think.
I've only seen one.
Yeah.
So right now the budget only has $9 grand in it.
I think so. I don't remember.
They took the building inspector
That's what I
budget
mean.
back out, and it's, I
So
guess
I guess
it's,
legally we could only advertise for 9,000 unless the council is going to guarantee us an extra. You know, if we want to say it's worth 12 or 15.
but it's only, but then is that position still there as a position?
We, I believe, need, John may have to weigh in on this, but I believe that because we have a building code, we're responsible to inspect. If we get rid of our building code, we don't have to inspect. But as long as we have one.
I think that.
I don't know that you'd have to inspect just because we had a code.
I
can
thought I
look
read
into
that,
it.
but it may not be.
Yeah, I can look
That may
into
be
it if you
mine.
want.
So I guess if you, I don't know. I mean, you said we've had 1 person interested for this.
We interviewed one. We never went any further.
We had one that's a retired engineer, and this guy's a licensed surveyor. I mean,
He's a PENLS retired.
Yeah.
You think he would do this for $9,000?
well, we're just saying $9,000, but what if we tell him he's got to work every day? So
What I would,
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
what I'd like to see us is just contract with them. We've got $9,000
Okay.
in the leeway, but we reset our fees to what we believe would be an average or above average. We're not here to make money on it, but we're also not here to compensate people either for
so
it.
you want to ask him to put together a proposal on what he would charge for building
That might be
inspection?
one way of looking at it.
And see if it's even affordable for us to.
I don't like doing this.
So you wanted to.
I don't like doing this. I'm doing this for no pay.
I would recommend today then reach out to that individual.
I'm not doing a very good job, I'll just tell you that.
And ask him to provide a proposal as soon as if he's interested, and then just send it to us for review, and we'll see if it's doable. And even if it's not, maybe something doable in the short term that we could agree to. That way, it takes it off our plate as
I
commissioners.
think he asked, and I don't know if it was ever given to him, on how many inspections and what type of inspections.
Well, there's some inspections, and you know, there's some inspections that are done that I don't even know why we're even doing them in a way, because you ain't got someone that's certified in that field or some way that gives knowledge base to that determination, and why you've been doing it for.
Yeah.
To be truthful.
But at
Because
least, yeah.
you're never going to have somebody that knows the old. I think we're on IBC still, the code, the IBC code. So that's
How
not a-
much responsibility is that as far as in case someone does a building inspection, and is there I think the county is still held harmless anyway.
If they're doing an inspection for the government, there's a liability that applies, or I'm sorry, an immunity from liability that applies to people who are doing an inspection for the government.
Now, is that only for employees of the county, or is that for a contractor? Does the contractor fall into that same category?
Let me look at the statute, but I think it would.
Okay.
Okay.
So we want to leave today that you reach out to him and get a proposal put together?
When we do, when the inspections are done, they're considered courtesy inspections. So, I know, like Duke, whenever I set a meter on the shed that we have, they came out and wanted to know whether Vermillion County approved that electrical connection. We weren't doing that at the time.
Yeah.
It's something that we probably should be doing, but we don't do.
Right.
And they went ahead and set the meter. Otherwise, they wouldn't have set the meter.
Mm.
So, there's things I think need to be worked out. I don't think it's necessarily been administered throughout the years. It's been administered.
Well, the other thing is
throughout the
too,
years.
I mean, some counties don't even do it. You know, I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but some counties don't even have any inspection.
Well, it depends on what our purpose is.
Right.
The reason for the inspections is to give some assurance that the buildings meet a standard.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
we
so
don't
I'm
care, then we're letting the public just go about, and if we're not doing this seriously, then I guess maybe that's where we should go, is not do these at all.
The other thing question is, John, if that person is already doing some work for the county in a different position, is it okay for them to do something on this level?
Yeah, as long as we make it clear what the two jobs are.
Okay. Okay. Because he's doing he's doing surveying with Roy Mack now.
You know, unless he's got a conflict because.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
He has
I
to
didn't want
declare a
to.
conflict. If he has
Okay, I'm gonna
conflict,
reach
he does
out
that.
and we'll go that route. Okay. Okay, we are to the end of this meeting. Anybody else got any public comment? I see we have a couple of new visitors.
No
Good to see Mr. Hicks and another one of my friends. So if there's nothing else, someone will make a motion,
Motion to adjourn.
Second the motion?
or we've done had plenty of discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Aye.
So Brenda, I think an hour and a half is the perfect timeline.